Welcome back to the Human First podcast with me, Adrian Murphy. I am on my own today, which is strange because I want to talk about Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody, when it comes this weekend. So you may be wondering, why am I talking about that? Well, this has always been the case, but we wanted to kind of check some up-to-date information. And in surveys of most difficult conversations couples can have, money occupies a unique space. Funnily enough, it's actually the number one cause of arguments, but it's probably like 3 or 4 of the most avoided topics as well. So while couples are kind of increasingly willing to go there, maybe have a conversation, it can be highly volatile, right? So based on data from 25 and 26 from sources like marriage.com, Starling Bank have done some stuff, Pension Bee as well. Here's exactly where money sits in the hierarchy of hard talks. So in the taboo ranking, so avoidance. So when asked what they would actively avoid or sidestep, money usually sits third or fourth, as I say, trailing behind deeper emotional stuff, physical vulnerabilities, understandable. But we are becoming a bit more comfortable talking about the existence of money, but still find it easier to talk about the budget than some of the other more emotional stuff. Okay, so the conflict ranking. While it isn't the most avoided topic, it is explosive. And what triggers fights? Money consistently sits at number 1 or 2 on that for couples under 45, interestingly. And there is a generational difference here. So it's the number one cause of friction for Gen Z and millennials in 2026. So it's cited as a primary source of relationship tension for 32%, beating out household chores and even that old taboo sex. Unlike a fight over the dishes or cleaning or whatever, financial conflicts are rated as more pervasive and recurrent. Now, you can imagine it because it doesn't go away. There's no permanent solution. Well, you finish that task and then that's the argument resolved. We are talking about something that is ongoing, always changing, always adding stress. And it's actually, funnily enough, talking about money on a first date is 3 times more likely to give somebody the ick than talking about marriage or children. So this weekend, if you are going on a first date, maybe we just steer clear of money altogether is probably a good piece of advice. Now, not all money talk is created equal. Within the money category, some topics are significantly harder to broach than others. Right. Now, this won't be a surprise, I'm sure. Number 1, debt. Ranked as the number 1 most difficult financial conversations. 24% of people find that disclosing debt more stressful than disclosing their salary. I think, it's understandable. There's a bit of stigma, a bit of shame maybe attached with that. It maybe suggests that you haven't quite got control of your spending, you're that kind of thing. So understandable. Number 2 is spending habits. The daily micro judgments of how a partner spends, for example, doom spending, which I think we've talked about previously on the podcast, or even wee secret subscriptions here and there. Now, they don't even need to be deliberate. It's just things you sign up for on your phone. And the other one, everybody's different. They've got different habits. Some people like to spend money on clothes. Some people have, more expensive hobbies than their partner, and that can lead to an imbalance. So again, it's probably really important that you agree these things, and as best you can, try and stick to them. And if you can't stick to them, again, talk about them. Now, the third one, inheritance and long-term care. This is really interesting. This is emerging as a taboo for 2026 as couples struggle to discuss financial reality of their aging parents or their own end of life care. And again, as financial planners, this is something we understand intimately because it's a conversation coming up every day. And as whole generation. If you take, I think I'm a what am I? I'm a millennial. I think I sneaked in somehow And, you are starting to see, I would see my peers and friends now having to deal with aging parents and the challenges that come with that. And that puts strain on different, because that's two sides of the family as well. So number 4 is the generational divide. Again, this is 2026 data. Gen Z are the radical transparency generation. They talk about money earlier, often within the first year of a relationship, but they also argue about it the most. 91% report financial disagreements. Now, you can kind of understand why this is the generation probably suffering more from the cost of living, wages not keeping up with that, difficulties getting in a property ladder. So you can see why it's good that I guess there's some radical transparency, but also why it could be such a difficult topic. Baby boomers are the silent generation. Only 32% discuss budgets, money, and many still view those discussions as either unnecessary or impolite or somehow awkward, even after decades of marriage. So that's the problem, right? Nobody really wants to talk about it. When they do, it's volatile, it can cause problems, or they just don't talk about it at all. So what's the answer? Well, I don't have all the answers, but something that I've talked about in the past, and actually we talked about recently, was in a Sky News article, which we'll link below, is the idea of a finance date. Probably not one for this Saturday. I would keep that to the romance side of things, but it's more about, right, get out the house, set an intention to have a discussion around, is it the household budget? Is that the thing that's causing friction? Is it a lack of transparency over your future together, where you're going? Can we afford this? Can we move house? All these things can sit there and fester and go unsaid, and eventually going to come out in some way or other. I think it's healthy to do that, reasonably often. Try and take a bit of the sting out of it. Make it nice. Go out for dinner, get a bottle of wine. Maybe not too much wine might lead to further arguments, but always set an intention to what you want to talk about. And once you do that, you'll be amazed at how much easier it is. So that would be my suggestion, whether you're a baby boomer or a millennial like myself or a Gen Zer, just be intentional about what you're doing, be transparent about it. And ultimately, if you are struggling, obviously I'd recommend go and see a financial planner together and really hash it out. So if I can leave you with maybe one last tip for all of this stuff, if you're going to go ahead and have these conversations, it's probably useful to have the right information, and it's never been easier. Now you have all sorts of apps that can help you analyze your spending, monitor your investments. So your own bank account, to be honest, probably has a spending tool on it, something that and again, you've got to practice what you preach. I go into mine and make sure that the spending items are allocated properly to the right categories. Then we can look at what we're spending as a household and just see where those differentials might be, and see where we might want to save some, where we might want to cut back, or maybe where we have a bit more budget. If you can do that, sit down, have a conversation with all the right information in front of you, it's probably going to lead to better outcomes. So having said all that, have a wonderful Valentine's weekend, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. Please feel free to join the conversation.